Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? I'm Immortal MMA. And today I'm going to go over the main event for UFC Freedom 250, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. And I want to see and answer the question, does Justin Gaethje have a chance? Does he have a chance, or is it like strictly 0%? Of course, you could say that nothing in the UFC is 0%. There's always a chance that a fluke can happen, but like, technically speaking, breaking down the techniques of both opponents, does he stand any chance whatsoever? Because most people don't seem to think so. Most people think that the fight's gonna end up like this. And while I can see why most people would think that, seeing Ilia Topuria's recent performances, but I want to break down everything that Justin can do to actually have any chance against Ilia Topuria. And if he does these things, how far do I think he can take it? How far do I think he will get with using specific moves and trying to go for a certain game plan? That is what I'm going to break down today. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. And mostly, the beginning of this video, I want to focus mainly on Justin Gaethje's techniques and all stuff like that. And then, obviously, at the end of the video, I'll be going over more of like my thoughts on how the fight will actually go. So, Justin Rufus Gaethje. Justin Rufus Gaethje. He's a weird case. Because what I mean by that is, his last fight with Paddy Pimblett, I could say confidently that out of his recent performances, out of his recent fights, that is the sloppiest that he has been in any of his fights. And I don't know why specifically. I don't know if it's because, like, he just didn't respect Paddy Pimblett's power at all. I don't know if, like, he just didn't respect Paddy Pimblett at all. He didn't think he was, like, close to being on his level or whatever like that. Like, I don't know why, but if you look at Justin Gaethje's performances before Paddy Pimblett, when he was going against Fiziev and when he was going against Dustin Poirier, and I know that was like a few years back, but even when he was going against Max Holloway, he still didn't look as sloppy as he did when he went against Paddy Pimblett. And you can even see in his body's physique, you could see that he wasn't physically as fit as the other fights that he's had either. Like, you could see that he had more fat on him. You could see that he wasn't as fit as his other performances before that. So that begs the question, what Justin Gaethje will come in against Ilia Topuria? Will it be this less fit, this more sloppy type of fighter? And of course you could say, like, oh yeah, Justin Gaethje's been sloppy his entire career.
Well, that swelling is rising too.
But like, you could really see in especially in the Dustin Poirier fight, the second one, is when Justin Gaethje really had much better technique. He was much more patient, but also, like, he was more patient, but he wasn't too patient to where he was getting outstruck. Like, his technique was actually really good when he was throwing, and he wasn't overthrowing too much, but he looked much better in that fight than his recent fight. And that's the thing, you can only, like, of course I could go back, way back into his career and, like, pick out certain fights, but really with fighting, you mostly have to predict how good a fighter is based on his last few performances. And for me, I only went back as far as the Dustin 2 fight. I didn't go back any further than that to break down this fight. Here are the things that Justin Gaethje has to use to even have a chance against Ilia Topuria. First of all, his leg kicks, obviously. And I know Joe Rogan's in the back. He's probably salivating at the thought of leg kicks. But yes, the leg kicks are a big factor in Justin Gaethje's fights. And it's for all of his fights, really. You look at the fight against Max, he was kicking his leg the entire time, and Max's leg started, like, swelling up really badly. He got hurt a few times also to the leg. You could see in the first round that he kind of got knocked off of his feet for a second, and then he was trying to, like, shake it out. You saw in a later round, he had switched stances for a little bit because he had got hit with the leg kick, and you can see that it bothered him. And of course, you can look at the, past, the Dustin performances where he chopped at the legs a lot. I'm not sure if he did it much against Fiziev. I didn't look at the tape for his fight against Fiziev. Mainly, I focused on Paddy Pimblett and, Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. Because, the version of Fiziev that showed up, he was off, a 2-year layoff, and he was coming in on short notice. Like, that's not really a good fight to break down to be like, oh, well, Justin Gaethje did good on this and this. But you can see he does really good work with the leg kicks. And if he's gonna have any success for this fight, he has to use the leg kicks so he can try to decrease Ilia's mobilization, so he can decrease, his footwork. And the next thing that he really needs to do is pressure, which he already said in an interview that he was gonna do. And now I've seen different people like talk about it and say that that is not a good idea at all. But you gotta understand, like, a lot of people I've seen come to this theory that, if he pressures, it'll be like, Oliveira all over again. Or, if he pressures, that's the worst thing you could do, is enter in range with Ilia Topuria. Obviously, when he's gonna pressure, he shouldn't just run into Ilia Topuria, obviously. Like Charles, he extended on his punch in the pocket with Ilia Topuria when he didn't need to. He was very reckless when he did that. Obviously, when I'm saying that he needs to push forward, I'm not saying that he should just recklessly go forward and then get clipped by Ilia Topuria. But he does need to go forward. He cannot stay on the back foot the entire fight. And I know, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, like, why not? Why not? Because he does not, like, Justin Gaethje, he does not have the footwork to do that. He cannot keep that up for, like, 5 rounds. He cannot keep that up for however long, chopping at Ilia's legs from afar and, trying to, like, jab at him from range and trying to, like, move out of the way. We saw what happened against Alexander Volkanovski, probably one of the best guys to do it in that style. Like, that's literally one of Volkanovski's best attributes, is being able to do stuff like that, float around on the outside, kind of pick apart his opponents. And Ilia Topuria was going tit for tat with Alexander Volkanovski and eventually caught him, because when you're doing that, it also puts you up against the fence more. And when Ilia Topuria's opponents are up against the fence, that is when he does his best work. We saw it against Alexander Volkanovski. We saw it against Max Holloway. A lot of his opponents, when he is able to back them up against the fence, that's over. It's done with. It's not a good idea to back up against the fence, and that is what Justin Gaethje would eventually get to if he tried to stay on the outside and try to fight like that, because Justin Gaethje, he doesn't have the best footwork. He doesn't have the greatest head movement. Like, he can dodge shots. He can, like, have decent head movement, but he's not gonna be, like, picking at Ilia at range and doing that for, like, 5 rounds straight. So he needs to go forward. He needs to go forward, because you can see it's evident in Ilia's striking that he is worse when he is on the back foot. You could see it's very clear in his fights. When he's going forward, that is when he's doing the best. When he is going backwards, he doesn't strike nearly as well on the back foot. So Justin Gaethje needs to go forward. He needs to use his calf kicks to obviously compromise the leg of Ilia Topuria. And another thing that I could see him maybe using is more of a clinch, because Justin Gaethje is strong. I would assume that he's going to be bigger than Ilia Topuria come fight night. I mean, obviously he's like taller and stuff, but I mean, like, body weight wise, I would assume that he's a little bit bigger than Ilia, and I think he could use his weight to his advantage in the clinch. And I'm not saying that, it's not dangerous in the clinch with Ilia Topuria, but it is probably less dangerous than, being at Ilia Topuria's boxing range. And we saw in the fight Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, when Charles was able to grab him in the clinch, he was very strong against Ilia. He was able to push him back to the fence in his clinch because of how strong he was. And obviously, there's a big gap between Oliveira and Justin Gaethje in terms of, like, strength in the clinch and, like, strength in the grappling in general. But I think that is another thing that Justin Gaethje could use to possibly have a better chance instead of just standing at Ilia's range. And of course, there's the factor of the head kick. Obviously, Ilia has been caught a few times in his career, actually. I went back and looked at some tapes in Ilia's early career. He got hit with a head kick, actually, early in his career, too, which really hurt him bad. Just like he did in the Jai Herbert fight when he got hurt really bad with the head kick. And obviously, Justin Gaethje has his head kick knockout over Dustin Poirier. And he has whipped up his head kicks, mixed them in throughout all of his recent fights. So obviously, that is something that he should definitely use against Ilia, since that is one of Ilia's biggest weaknesses that we have seen. And of course, Justin Gaethje has power in his hands. So obviously, that is a factor to consider. I would say, out of all the people that Ilia has faced, Justin Gaethje has the most power out of anyone that he has faced. He went up against Alexander Volkanovski, who isn't exactly known for his power. Max Holloway, who the same thing happened, which, although Max has been getting a lot of, like, finishes recently, it was a lot of accumulation in those finishes, especially the one against Justin Gaethje. Like, he hit him so many times, and he broke his nose early in that fight. Like, there was a lot of stuff that went into that knockout compared to just like, oh, Max Holloway has crazy knockout power. So I would say, even against like, Josh Emmett, like, I would say Justin Gaethje, obviously, it's up a weight class, and obviously Justin Gaethje is going to have more power than Josh Emmett, and also Josh Emmett he has overhands. He's not even nearly as technical as Justin Gaethje, which is kind of crazy to say, like, he's not as technical as Justin Gaethje, but this is going to be the most powerful guy that he has faced, other than Charles Oliveira, because Charles Oliveira is very powerful, and we have seen him rock a lot of his opponents. Obviously, he knocked out Michael Chandler. He dropped Justin Gaethje, and he stung up Dustin Poirier. Like, Oliveira has a lot of power, but obviously, he's mainly a grappler. So obviously, the power is like, he could like fluke a KO against Ilia Topuria. And then the last thing I want to go over is if they do get into any grappling exchanges, like he used in his fight against Paddy, Justin tries to look for these 50-50 positions to kind of stall out the position. I would say that is a good plan if they get into any grappling exchanges, because obviously I don't think Justin Gaethje is going to out-grapple Ilia Topuria. So I would say, if they get into any grappling exchanges, if he just uses those 50-50 positions to try to stall out time, try to wear on Ilia Topuria and make him a little bit more tired. Now, with all of that being said, all of those things that he could use to, raise his chances against Ilia Topuria, all those things that he could use to maybe, have a chance to beat Ilia Topuria and creating the biggest upset in UFC history. Oh. That is not happening. That is not happening. That is not happening. Justin Gaethje's gonna die. Justin Gaethje's gonna die. No, like, literally, this is gonna be the first death in UFC history. No, like, actually, I'm not even kidding. Justin Gaethje has no chance. Zero chance. He has zero chance. Oh, look, I was going over all of these things. And like, I couldn't help but just think when I was saying these, like, man, I'm saying all of this just to say that Justin Gaethje has indeed a 0% chance of defeating Ilia Topuria in this fight, okay? And now this is the part where I go over why Ilia Topuria is gonna absolutely destroy Justin Gaethje and he has no chance whatsoever. Okay, first of all, the leg kick thing. Justin kicked Max Holloway about like 20 something to like 30 times in his leg, and guess what? There was no difference in his movement. There was no difference. He was still able to move freely. He was still able to have the speed advantage and his footwork advantage. Like, Max Holloway was completely fine after all of those leg kicks, and Justin was landing some hard leg kicks. They were doing nothing. Like, they were doing something. They were obviously creating damage. They were hurting Max, you could see him wince a few times, but they did not affect his movement as Justin Gaethje probably hoped. They did not affect his movement at all. Maybe like a tiny little bit. Maybe a teeny little bit, but it did not work for him. Then you look at his fight against Dustin Poirier, the first fight against Dustin Poirier. He landed like 40 calf kicks. He landed like something, like a crazy number like that. And Dustin Poirier, again, was fine. He wasn't going to finish Dustin Poirier off of those leg kicks. He wasn't going to completely crumple Dustin Poirier with those leg kicks. He was fine. And he KO'd Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are overrated. Like, yes, they do damage. Yes, they are a factor in his fights. But do I think it's going to tip the scale over? Like, oh, he's gonna calf kick Ilia Topuria so much that he's going to have to switch stances and he won't be as comfortable in his other stance. Or, oh, he's going to leg kick TKO him. Or, oh, he's going to, like, affect his speed and his movement with those leg kicks. No, I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay? That's not gonna happen, okay? His leg kicks are overrated. And then next, his KO power. Like, yes, look, I know Justin Gaethje has so many KOs on his resume, and I understand, Justin Gaethje has KO power. He is a very strong striker. He has power. That being said, again, his power is overrated. His power in his hands is overrated. Who was the last person that he knocked out with his hands? Who was the last person that he knocked out with his hands? Barboza? How long ago was that? Barboza. Think about that. Barboza. I think that was the last person. Like, Barboza, James Vick. Like, these are the guys that he knocked out last with his hands. Other than that, he had his head kick KO against Dustin Poirier. Oh, wow. He knocked out someone with a head kick. Who would it, like, come on. His power is overrated. He dropped Oliveira with his punches. Who hasn't? Who hasn't dropped Oliveira with their punches? Are we going to act like Justin Gaethje is like the only guy that's clipped Oliveira where he has to drop. Like, Dustin Poirier did the same, Michael Chandler did the same, all these guys have done the same. His knockout power is overrated. His knockout power is overrated. Is he good? Like, does he have some power in his hands? Yes. Does he have some thud? You know, is he gonna crack you?
Hey, yo!
Yes. But he's not gonna, like, really knock you out. And now let's go on to Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, I could say confidently that Ilia Topuria has better leg kicks than Justin Gaethje.
Oh, no. This can't be.
Now, when you hear that, you're like a lot of, like, some people may be like, wait a minute, better leg kicks than Justin Gaethje? The guy that's always getting glazed for his leg kicks? Yes. If you actually look at his fights, he was hurting Alexander Volkanovski with his leg kicks. He was making him spin around. Every time he chopped at his leg, in the Max Holloway performance, you could see that the calf kicks were actually hurting Max Holloway. And I would say that in his performance against Max Holloway, that he affected Max's movement more than Justin Gaethje with his leg kicks. I could confidently say that. His leg kicks are nasty. And if you look at Justin Gaethje, he actually doesn't check leg kicks too often. He gets hit by leg kicks a lot. If you look at the Patty fight, if you look at the Dustin fight, he gets hit by leg kicks a lot. I think even in his fight against Oliveira, he got hit with some leg kicks. Like, he does not check leg kicks that often. And I think that is going to be a good weapon for Ilia Topuria to actually use against him. I believe that between the two, Ilia Topuria is actually going to be destroying Justin Gaethje's leg. And then, of course, there's the speed difference. We all saw how he knocked out my boy Oliveira, my GOAT, the guy that got me into the sport, Charles Oliveira. We saw how he did him. The speed advantage is crazy. Ilia Topuria is super fast. He's much faster than Gaethje. He's going to be able to put combinations on Gaethje just like Max Holloway did when he moved up. The speed difference is going to be very evident. And then you come to the deficiencies of Justin Gaethje, his guard. When he dips his head, this is a glaring problem with Justin Gaethje. A lot of the times when he's striking, and it was very, very evident in his fight with Paddy Pimblett, he guards his head and then ducks his head down to his body. He dips off in this like weird like shell that he does. And this has been exploited before. In his fight with Max Holloway, he was getting hit with a ton of uppercuts when he was doing this. And if Ilia Topuria catches Justin Gaethje doing this with an uppercut, Justin Gaethje is finished. This is a glaring problem. He always does it. He did it so many times in his fight against Paddy Pimblett, and even Paddy Pimblett was catching him with some uppercuts when he was doing it. And if he gets caught, again, if he gets caught on the chin with an uppercut as he's ducking downward, he's going to get knocked out by Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria's uppercuts are super good. He is going to get finished if he does this, and he's going to do this because he does it in every single one of his fights. And then, I look again, I'm reaching a lot of things from the Max fight because there's a lot of things I could see that he did against Max that it can be easily exploited. His body. Max was hitting him to the body with so many straights, so many jabs. And Ilia Topuria is really good with doing this as well. And we even saw it in his fight against Charles Oliveira where he was setting Oliveira up with the jab to the body. He was doing the jab to the body, jab to the head. I think Ilia Topuria can use this same opening and jab him to the body all day. Straight right to the body all day. And that's going to be affecting Justin Gaethje's cardio. And obviously, Ilia Topuria, he's going to pack much more of a punch than someone like Max Holloway when he's throwing these to the body. And that's eventually going to, get Justin Gaethje to lower his arms, or if he doesn't, he's going to get destroyed to the body and his cardio is going to go right out the window. And Max was also using some nice body hooks, and Ilia Topuria's body hooks are nasty. His body work is nasty. So if he's able to do that because Justin Gaethje is too worried about getting hit in the head, if he keeps doing that, he's eventually going to affect the cardio and maybe even hurt Justin to the body, which will then open up combinations for him to, start going to the head. Ilia Topuria, he has more power. He has more speed. He has more IQ. Like, I believe, he fights smarter than Justin Gaethje. And here's the thing, like, he does get hit in his fights. He does get hit. But so far, he has shown a good chin. And so far, a lot of the times he's getting hit by, guys like Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, who are much faster than Justin Gaethje. Much more technical than Justin Gaethje. One, I don't think he's going to get hit as much as his other fights. And even when he does, like, we saw him tank a few shots from Oliveira. A nasty elbow that caught him right on the head. And he was completely fine. He was completely completely fine against that. And, you know, Oliveira is very powerful. He does have a lot of power in his shots. Ilia was completely fine. And now, you know, Ilia has had more time to bulk up even more than he did in his fight against Oliveira. You know, from what I've seen, he looks in better shape than he did against Oliveira. Like, he looks more shredded. So he's probably gonna have more muscle, more power against Justin Gaethje. And again, you know, I don't know what shape Justin Gaethje is gonna show up in. What if he shows in the same shape as he did against Paddy Pimblett, and if he is as reckless as he was against Paddy Pimblett? Like, if he is less reckless and he tries to approach this like he did against like Dustin Poirier, sure, I could see him having the better chance. But if he goes out there and tries to do what he did against Paddy Pimblett, Paddy was catching him so many times. And I know Paddy's obviously way longer than Ilia Topuria, but still, Paddy's not as fast as Ilia Topuria. He doesn't have better footwork or better head movement than Ilia Topuria. If Justin Gaethje goes forward like he did against Paddy Pimblett and isn't smart with trying to push back Ilia, he's gonna get caught. Everything is against him. Like, throughout all the things that I've said, you know, I've done like tape study. Like, I've had an opportunity to sit down and watch tape study on Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria. Everything is on Ilia's side. There is nothing on Justin Gaethje's side. Nothing that Justin Gaethje has over Ilia Topuria other than the head kick. And sure, he could fluke a head kick, but do I think? No, I don't think he's gonna fluke a head kick. Obviously, Ilia Topuria is gonna be game planning to stay clear of the head kick. He's obviously, you know, struggled with it in the past, but the first time he did, it was so many years ago before he was even in the UFC, and the second time he did, it was up against Jai Herbert when he was, you know, coming up a weight class on like short notice. Come on, you expect me to believe that Justin Gaethje is just gonna shoot up a head kick and he's gonna knock him out? And that's the thing, Justin Gaethje, it's not like he throws head kicks like super often. Like, he throws a couple per fight. That's about it. I don't think Ilia Topuria is gonna get knocked out by a Justin Gaethje head kick. That's gonna be like a 0.01% chance of that happening. 0.1% chance of that happening. There's my breakdown. There's my breakdown. Justin Rufus Gaethje will die at the UFC Freedom event, and he's gonna retire after this fight. He's gonna retire, and you know, that's the other thing. This guy, I don't know why this guy decided that it was a good idea to talk about Ilia Topuria's wife, his ex. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And you know, I like trash talk. I like trash talk, but I don't think that was a good idea to say that against Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is gonna slime Justin Gaethje out horrendously. The body shots are gonna be open for Ilia Topuria. The leg kicks are gonna be open for Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje doesn't move his head the best. He gets clipped a lot in his fights, and that's another thing. Like, he gets rocked in a lot of his fights. If you actually pay attention, like, it's not like Justin Gaethje has this crazy chin. He has good recoverability, but like, he gets rocked a lot in his fights. Like, literally all of them. Against Tony Ferguson, he got rocked. Against Michael Chandler, he got rocked. Against Oliveira, he got rocked. Against Dustin Poirier, he got rocked. Against Max Holloway, he got rocked. He gets rocked in every one of his fights. So it's over for him. It's over for him. The odds are against him completely. Yeah, Ilia Topuria, look, if you're a gambler, you know, I'm not gonna say like, oh, go gamble all your money, but if there was ever a UFC fight to ever bet on in your entire life, this is the UFC fight to bet on. Bet on Ilia Topuria. If you're gonna bet on anybody ever in the UFC's history, bet on Ilia Topuria in this fight, because there's not a single chance that Justin Gaethje is gonna do anything to Ilia Topuria. But that is all I gotta say. You know, I'm sure this video was a bit long, a bit dragged out. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, do a boxing combination on that like button, Ilia Topuria style. You know, head kick that subscribe button and elbow that comment section, and let me know what your thoughts are about this fight. If you have Gaethje winning, sorry to say, you are wrong. There's no opinion on this. You are wrong. Any fans of Justin Gaethje, sorry to say, your boy's cooked. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.